Pow wow, yo, yippee, yay. This is DO number 7. Super excited. So, today we're going to talk about fascinating Corona. What's happening to the world economy? Are we going to go into doomsday or not? Is Bitcoin a safe haven or not? We're talking about a little bit about Tron and the takeover of what happened again with obviously Steem and Hive. We're going to deep dive into the most important part about what's doing with the Wealth app and obviously have some fun. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into the music. Um, like always, super awesome to see all these beautiful pictures. If you don't have your picture on it, please send it to me via our Telegram group or any by email or any social media or on your Twitter. Always happy to add you to these beautiful pictures that we'll have here about our fantastic family. So let's start with something fun, okay? Because it's been quite a hard week, a confinement. What I do at my home, the easiest, the best thing to always do is that it's beautiful to be with our family, but sometimes it gets a little bit too messy, and you want to put the mistake on someone, but don't put it on your wife, don't put it on your kids. Invent a new special friend that does not exist. Call him like Bob or whatever you want. And whenever like something is not tidy, something's not going on, just say, "Hey Bob, what happened to that? I thought the dishes were washed. Why didn't you wash them?" And like to make sure you're putting pressure on this invisible person, and like that, you'll have a more joyful relationship with all your family. But the joke of the week, it is, what's a cough idiot? Well, a COVID idiot, it's a stupid person who stubbornly ignores social distancing protocol that helping to further spread COVID-19. And if you see that guy, this person in the street, you say, "Are you seriously going to visit grandma?" Dude, don't be such a COVID idiot. That's a good thing. Or it could be a stupid person that who's hoard of groceries, needless, spreading the COVID-19 fears, right? We have a lot of those guys, not so much in Switzerland, but a little bit and elsewhere where people are just being that, there's no need to buy 200 toilet paper. Another joke of the week, and this one is a good one. How much did it cost to invent Bitcoin? That's a hard one. Like people will say, well, some time, but how much did it really cost? That's an easy one. It took one Satoshi. Oh, that was enough for the joke of the weeks. Let's go directly into the bios of the weeks. Who is this wonderful woman? One of the best, strongest women of the 20th century. One that you should always look up. Maybe I'll give you some more information and maybe you'll guess who this person is. This person was amazing enough to be born in Warsaw, but moved very quickly from Warsaw to France. Greatly, she got to be into one of the best university in France. She discovered radioactivity, and when her career was really taking off, which was amazing about what happened in her mindset, is that instead of not getting any funding for research, not being able to continue her project, she said, how can, based on radioactivity, invent a machine that could do x-rays? And how can these x-rays, in terms of biggest crisis, the First World War, how can we actually scale those products? She looked in different ways in technology, how her own research with her husband could get into essentially a portable X-ray to be used at the military during the war. And that was the best way to scale our product, to start getting more and more funding to actually later on to find what's polonium and radium and really be one of the mothers of the health and the big pharma of today. I mean, she was not only the first professor at Sorbonne, but she was the first Nobel Prize woman, and she actually having 2 Nobel Prizes. And this is exactly how things could be turned on when you see a massive crisis. There's 2 ways of this. Is rather you say, as we said last week, is you fear and you just block yourself and you don't realize what there's to do and you don't take advantage, or you see there's opportunity because some people are misled by fear And some people on the opposite say, well, there's fear now, there's blood in the market, this is where I should bring my A game. And obviously, this is Marie Curie. What Marie Curie said, I think, so which is really nice to realize as well, is that one never noticed what has been done. One can only see what remains to be done. And I really think that, you know, this wonderful lady has brought so much leadership and so much great inventions in these hard times, and all that being an immigrant woman coming to France around the age of 20 years old or so, and becoming one of the smartest person of all time, and who took profit on a very difficult period of time during crisis, during a massive World War One. So that was the buy of the week. Now let's dig into history of pandemics. Talking about what we said about just earlier about of fear. This corona is very serious, and there's no doubt about that. However, in terms of history of pandemics, COVID-19, with less than 15,000 people that died, it's not a big one. There was some pandemics in time that actually 50% of the population was wiped out. There was the Black Death that happened in the 14th century. The smallpox, killed 56 million people. The Spanish flu, even in this, last century, killed 50 million people in 2 years. It's crazy. We have the plague of Justinian that pretty much killed everyone almost. And obviously, AIDS is still a massive one for the last, 40 years or so. Already 20, 30 million people that have been dying. And recently, if people have to realize that is that though Ebola has less people that killed, right? There's only 11,000 people that died out of it, and SARS is much smaller. So this is definitely a very serious case of corona. As I always say, take it with a grain of salt. It's something that is very dangerous for elder people or people who have respiratory issues. And at the same time, we have to stay safe, but we have to understand that life goes on, and this pandemic will have other ones, and you'll have different other crises. And it's for us to be strong and to do the right things, not to spread it, and at the same time, the right thing to do to invest smartly to build our great futures. Talking about Corona itself, there's some good news. There's actually some really good news. Not coming from the States. It looks like Trump is really trying to favorize market economy and the financial markets more than actually the pandemics that are going in the States. And we're seeing that, like, this was only yesterday, 41,000 people that are cases. If we actually jump right now, it would be good to see what's happening. Corona. Let's see how many cases is. Yeah, 63,000. So less than 2 days, just pretty much 2,000 people that got into the case. And no, sorry, 46,000. Sorry. So yeah, that's 5,000. So that's 20% increase in the States. That's alarming, actually, numbers. But on the other side, which is very interesting, is that when you take good precautions, and even Italy with Forza Italia, which is that you see on the other side is that when you take this serious and you play the game, you really confine people and you make sure they don't spread. Look, these numbers are great, right? 63,927 cases is right now live, and this is just from yesterday. There was, the same amount of cases. So that really hasn't moved. I mean, one case less, probably even. So that's been the last 24 hours, the first time in Italy that they're actually confining the spread, which is great. This is exactly what things should be done. And hat off to Italy, Forza Italia. This is, it's really great numbers. And how's that reflected into the local economy? It makes a super strong euro. And this market today is booming, right? Everything on the European markets going extremely well, 4 to 5%. Most European stock markets are going extremely well. And it shows that the market, as we said last week and before, is very, very based on corona spread and how things are affecting the world. And these are really the data people are looking for. In terms of crypto, we saw that BitMEX, Bitfinex, Bittrex as well. So all the MEX X are about to do KYC, which I think so it's good. They're really gonna know their clients. Obviously, we've been doing this since the very beginning of our ICO at SwissBorg. We believe it's really important to know who is your community and to make sure that this is clean money. On another positive news as well, I wanted to obviously to wish to everyone Happy New Year. This is a Persian Nowruz, Eid Shoma Mubarak to everyone. It might be only celebrated in the Persian culture, essentially, but it's the good thing is that everyone should celebrate it because it's as well, the same equinox as spring, and that makes it really cool. And we're seeing obviously temperatures is rising a bit in some countries, and especially flowers going crazy, and hopefully soon animals as well. So it's always a great time of the year to remember that winter is done, and hopefully good times will enable us to kill this pandemic as well. On the other bright side as well, a lot of great news today. Well, the Fed pretty much said that it's open bar, guys. Party. It's at the party. It's at the party. So they're just going to print as much as money as there is. And that really shows how, how the dollar is based on nothing. It's not an IOU of gold, that's for sure. It's not an IOU of technology. It's an IOU of great reputation, politics, and some economics disbehavior or misbehavior. Which is that they will do whatever you want to just make sure the crisis will be sustained. We're seeing a lot of companies, tech companies and other companies going through a lot of different issues of essentially like Airbnb and sharing economies and Ubers, things like that, where they really cannot essentially make any money on right now through their service. So there's definitely some jobs that will be cut very soon. That sucks, but the U.S. economy and the Federal Reserve wants to make sure that there's enough cash to throw away from the window and make sure that we will contain this as it is, which I think so is good. And then the last news, which this really breaks my or grinds my break my balls a bit, is this thing. We talked about this already a few times, the fact that governance plays a very massive role within any ecosystem. If we're talking about a country or we're talking about a DEO. And Justin Sun, wanted to bring in great dApps on Tron. And I think so that's good. That's good, right? But he's always doing it in a very weird, awkward way, which is that paying off cash. A little bit very similar to what a Federal Reserve. That's not the real solution for everything. You can't just pour cash and expect to dominate the world of dApps or to dominate anything. It doesn't work like that. People have brains, people have hearts, and you can't buy everything. And now it looks like they're just buying out journalism too. I'm really sad about how Cointelegraph behaved to that, saying that, this is super good. Hive trades at 20% premium over the Steem on Bittrex and crypto exchanges. Okay, let's take back what we said about Tron. They asked the founder of Steem to buy him out. He gave some amount of voting tokens that enables Steem powers to control the governance of the team. A lot of the teammates that were within that governance had their different tokens on these different exchanges. These different exchanges such as Polynex, Binance, and Huobi and other different exchanges, Justin Sun had stakes in. He asked all these exchanges to vote in the favor of this hostile takeover without asking the exchanges actually to the own people who had their Steem powers on it to actually make the vote. They asked the exchanges to make the vote and not actually the people itself. So if you had Steem powers and you're on Polynex, someone voted for you without asking, and that's called delivered proof of stake. And unfortunately, you could do that through the protocol. So Justin Sun gave cash to Steem's founder. then did this takeover hostile, replaced all these different governors within the ecosystem to do this fork. Horrible strategy in terms of PR, good strategy in terms of war, right? The Byzantine attack did extremely well. So from that, these guys now are saying, okay, how can I make sure that all the users go from Steem to the new fork, to Hive? Well, we're going to call it Hive, which is a good name. Stupid enough, again, Hive is already a company of blockchain in Toronto based, and they're suing this new Hive because they have intellectual property. So first, stupid name. Second, they're like, oh, we're going to pump up the volume, these shitty exchanges, and make sure that Hive is trading more highly, like that you'll convert it and you'll make the 20%. So now it's every Steem person that has this token, who wants to fork and make a 20% premium, could do it. That's super sleazy and that's super cheap. Like, okay, whatever you've done before, and which with this great decentralized proof of blockchain and this great Steemit platform, let's give you 20%, like that, you're happy. So that's pretty much, and you shut the fuck up, and now we're going to control this in a very centralized way through 20 different Chinese dudes that essentially is going to take over the whole Steem protocol called Hive. Then there's Cointelegraph saying, oh, this is really cool. Come on, I can't be cool, man. That journalism is super important. This is not the first time that Cointelegraph is doing things like that, but this is really bad. This is not even written sponsored. If it was at least written sponsored, so okay, but this is definitely sponsored. That's really a poor act of actually bringing great governance models to blockchain and making great use cases. I'm not against the fork. I'm just against about how it's done and how these different news agencies are really buying these different stories. I think that's super bad, super poor from Cointelegraph. Hopefully they'll have more journalists that will actually give the real light of what's happening through this weird takeover, and that things will be established. Anyways, I'm not moving to Hive, that's for sure, or at least for right now. We'll see how things goes. The market, well, the market looks great. You guys, free money, everyone's, doing well in Italy. There's a lot of good signals that's showing that there's good strength. It's really hard to see what's going to happen on the long run right now. It's really, if someone would really know like what's happening, it's really a hard one, to be honest. There was that massive liquidation that happened on BitMEX, and we saw those futures go up. Right now, there's no real pattern. They're gonna have like swings, ups and down. If you have the Wealth app, you should be trading a lot. That's for sure. Buying and selling Bitcoin right now. Whenever you're making like that 10, 15, 20% gain, you should maybe cut some of your profits, reinvest it whenever it tanks. But the best thing right now is really that mean reversion strategy that could goes on these different head and shoulders that you want to do on a short term. So yeah, not the greatest insights from my part, sorry, but right now it's really a hard one to predict where the market is going, and there's quite a big strong correlation between the markets and financial markets and Bitcoin itself. We might see then a disparity in the rally, but right now it's still the case, and we're looking on central government, what they're doing, and the response to COVID-19 essentially. So it's really to cover if there's good news on COVID-19 and it's not spreading, that's very good for Bitcoin. There's arbitrage. This happened quite often on Tezos between different exchanges, and you've seen that recently, seen that in late February as well, and we said that as well this last week. So it's really interesting to see that Tezos, basically, if you were from HitBTC to another, you could do a lot of different arbitrage. If you guys like doing this, there's a risk to it, obviously. If exchange doesn't pay you back the premium, or essentially doesn't have enough like rumors on HitBTC saying that they actually maybe don't have enough Tezos, but there's real disparity. So the thing is to buy it on one exchange, sell it on the other exchange, and you could lock in great premiums. That's what we do at SwissBorg for sure. It's a good way to make some money. And we'll maybe write an article on this like that. You guys can maybe have more insights on this for next time. And please comment or ask any questions in the comments just right under, and we'll talk about it. If you guys haven't talked, we talked about this last week, but if you guys haven't seen it, it's a cool video. Alex and myself, we were at what's it called, Crypto Compare, and as you can see, you know, there's Alex on the left side, which is representing Vitalik Buterin. I'm the right side representing Warren Buffett. I think it's quite a cool video. It really shows, you know, centralized finance versus decentralized. You know, there's a. I start by the fact that I say the centralized is shady, it's great. I only help my friends on the golf course and whatsoever. And then Alex talks about more about the fact that how he thinks that DeFi is the big thing, and you know, the public screens and all that. It's really cool. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't watched it, please check it out. Really cool way. Talk about videos. Alex doing a fantastic job with Kryptonite. We have one of the biggest influencers of all time, Ivan on Tech, the crypto Swedish dude. I think so. It's going to be a great one again. He's really, you know, has great insights, great community behind it. So it's tomorrow night. I hope you'll enjoy it. I will for sure. And obviously, come check it out live because, you know, it's always cool to share together some opinions. Community app, we're not 40,000, baby. We're at 93,700, and that just needs fireworks. Okay, now the cool game we want to make out of this is we're gonna get one as 100,000, right? That is the big question that you guys are gonna try to answer, and by doing that, you know, we really want to make sure that this could be a fun thing. What is the game? So the game essentially is on Twitter, okay? Super easy. It's how you could essentially guess and predict when are we going to be at 100,000, okay? Very easy. You write whatever you want, then the date with the month, hashtag SB Community App 100K, and you put it on Twitter. We'll make sure to look at all the different people around the world that will predict it. If you have the closest one will win $100 of free Bitcoin, and the other people, everyone who participate will be allowed to participate to the next game, which will be a really fun questionnaire online that I'll do hopefully very soon, and you will be able to win more prizes. So anyone who participates in this game, it's very easy. It's the dates, write whatever you want with this picture. I'll be sending on my Twitter, but as well as SwissBorg, and then essentially you put hashtag at SB Community App 100K, and based on that, if you win, you get not only $100 worth of Bitcoin, but you're qualified for the next very cool game that you guys are really going to enjoy, and I'm going to enjoy as well. So please take part of it. You're going to enjoy that. Regarding the community app, we have onboarded, the wealth app, we have onboarded already 506 people, which is really cool. We were supposed to go for essentially the UK market and French market this week. However, we're having some issues with the onboarding part because Onfio has COVID-19 as well cases, and essentially are not able to produce the KYC. So some of the KYC is automated, but some of it is not, and we're seeing really slow response time. So we're not sure if we're going to be able to release this week in UK and France, because we want to make sure the onboarding is as smooth. But we'll be ramping more and more people in Switzerland for sure. Right now we have $650,000 under management. There's roughly 500,000 of volume, which is quite nice. The smart engine is working perfectly fine, and that's a great job to all of you guys. I'm really glad about this. We have as well, a fair amount of tokens, 3 million that are 3 million that are staked. We have usually 8 minutes for onboarding, which is very good. I think so. 8 minutes for doing the onboarding. I mean, look at the bank account. It'll take you probably like I don't know, like 3 weeks sometimes. Whereas 8. And so we're really happy. These numbers are really comforting and being really good. Talking about new products, portfolio reporting. This is something that is extremely important, and being really hard to be actually good at this when you're in most crypto apps. It's most crypto apps. It's really hard to really understand what's the profit, what's the loss, how much that you have actually deposited, how much were your withdrawals, and we really want to make sure we're different from that. We're not an exchange. We're a wealth management ecosystem. Okay, this is very different, and we take this extremely serious to make sure you understand what is wealth management, right? It's not about making just one trade great and one miserable trade, right? It's to how to build on a sustainable and long-term growth. And that's why the portfolio storytelling we want, or the portfolio reporting, we want to make it as easy for anyone to understand and to make sure, you know, when you add your balance, you want to look at profit, loss, deposit, withdrawal, something clean, right? If you want to go more into the profit and loss, you want to see what are your realized profits, what are your floating profit, and what is your fees that you've been paying so far, right? Then with that, which is very important, you want to understand as well that what's the portfolio breakdown do you have? What are the great contributors within your portfolio? Is it Bitcoin? Is it CHSB? Is it Ether? You really want to understand that. And then what's the breakdown of your portfolio? And this is something that we really want to show the big difference is that, obviously we're happy to have volume on our platform. We're happy to make fees to make sure we have more buy burn and we reinvest more money in the SwissBorg network. But the idea, which is the most important, is to make sure that you enjoy the best way of investing and making sustainable returns on the long run. And this is why we really want to break this down in the clearest way possible. We're planning, obviously, to bring this in the Wealth app as soon as possible. And looking forward to these amazing feedbacks with it. And sorry, to take what other people are doing, and this is insights that we have to understand. Coming from the financial world, you have to understand is that what is the difference between buying cryptocurrencies or trading it through CFDs? Why? Why we not do it with Revolut or IG or whatever? Well, the big difference here is that there's a massive conflict of interest, a massive one. It's the one that is really hard to really explain, to understand why people are still buying these different CFDs. Is that, look, most of these CFDs, they have now to actually even tell that 68% of people, retail investors, can lose money when they're trading spreads and bets on CFDs. This is how sad it is. It really shows that we live in a world where essentially people and banks and financials haven't behaved in a very good way, and we really want to distance ourselves from that, and make sure that you guys are investing in a smart way. You're rebalancing your portfolio. You understand what's risk parameters, and you have a real dashboard that enables you to understand what's doing great, what's doing okay, what is doing poorly, and that's the only great way to build wealthy community. It's really that training, that learning, that best investments ideas, and more importantly, that reporting system that portfolio storytelling talked about earlier. As you guys know, I really love doing this. It's always really I enjoy doing this with you guys. Please comment, and share this video. Ask me any questions that you want to talk about for next Pow Wow. On the same time, quick reminder about this game. It was going to be really cool, guys, to predict how we're going to get 100,000 people. We're going to get that very soon. I just put 16.4. That's my bet. But you could go for another date. And yeah, guys, looking forward to your comments, and much love. Take care, guys. Soon. Ciao.